These episodes of Everyday Alex, and today I want to talk about emotions and why your emotions matter. And this is in the context of the Reset program, which is opening for registration tomorrow. It's generally open 3 times a year. So the first intake was January. The next intake opens tomorrow for 4 or 5 days. And then it will be in late September will be the third option this year. And one of the ingredients, one of the pieces that we work on as part of the Reset program is your emotions, and particularly your relationship to your emotions. One of the things that happens when our nervous system gets hyperactivated and we're constantly living in our mind and we're often dealing with a lot of ongoing anxiety patterns is we disconnect from our feelings. We end up often not being in touch with our feelings, or when we do feel our feelings, trying to distract ourselves away from them or change them or avoid them or turn them into something different. What this does is this creates a vicious loop in our relationship with our feelings. So we disconnect and we're not in touch with. So we start to get more frustrated and more difficult feelings and emotions. And then we just sort of start to touch into them and feel them. And then we run away from them again. And what starts to happen is we get further and further away from being in our body. Because one way to think about it is your emotions are in your body. They're in your heart, they're in your belly. And in a sense, our thoughts and our anxiety and our mental busyness, that tends to happen in our mind. For our body to heal, we have to be in it. A healing state is ultimately grounded in the body. Being in touch with our heart, with our feelings, with our emotions. When it comes to pacing and really being able to listen to our body, we need to be in touch with it. We need to be in tune with it. And so one of the things that can often happen is that the further away we get from our body, the less information we have, so the less clear we are when we need to rest, when we can do a bit more. All that information is sort of lost. So we make increasingly bad decisions. And again, this is part of this vicious circle in relationship with our body. So a big part of the work that I do with people about resetting the nervous system, about calming the body and getting into a healing state, is not just calming the patterns of the mind. That's obviously part of it. And learning things like meditation, mindfulness, the stop process, really getting aware of the different thoughts and patterns we have. All of that is super important. But there's this other piece that I think is often missed, and it's missed in some of the other programs which are out there, which is this whole piece around emotions. And emotions can be sort of seen as something to be gotten rid of, that you just need to kind of have positive thoughts and sort of force your mind into a certain way of thinking. And that really doesn't work. That actually, the harder that we try, the more that we force ourselves to get into a positive mindset, often the more frustrated we get, the more stuck we get. That actually what we really want to be able to do is we want to be able to calm the mind and come into the moment, to be able to come into a healing state. But we have to feel our feelings to do that. We have to process and digest. We have to heal the past. We have to work through the things that have happened. There's no way of getting away from that. There's no sidetrack that we can do, the kind of bypass that we can do that doesn't involve learning how to process, to digest, to feel our emotions. And within the format of the Reset program, sort of the way that I think about this, there's a few steps to this that are important. The first is we have to understand our emotional style. There are 6 main different emotional styles that we have. A couple of examples being we avoid and distract. So rather than feeling our feelings, we're always trying to be busy and we're trying to distract ourselves and we're doing almost whatever we can to just avoid feeling. Another example is state changing, that whenever we feel something, we're trying to find a way to change the emotion. That could be through drugs, it could be through alcohol, it could be through sugar or eating, it could be through sex, it could be through kind of obsessive kind of driving and achieving and working. But whatever we feel, we're trying to change it into something else. These are having awareness of our emotional styles is really helpful, because if you can see it, don't have to be it. The more that we can recognize and identify how it is that we're relating to our emotions, what our strategy is, what our way of responding to our feelings is, the more we can recognize that, the more we can start to change it. The next piece that we need is we need to learn to feel our emotions. And this is not about getting sucked into and lost in and wallowing in whatever it is that we're feeling. But it's learning to honor. It's learning to process. It's learning to metabolize, to digest the emotions of the feelings and the experiences that have happened to us. There's very specific ways that and I've seen some of this if you've been following the In Therapy Tuesday documentary series. You'll be seeing particularly some of the work with Sally around anger and her relationship with anger. You get a bit of an insight into some of this work there. So really understanding when you feel things, what do you do with those? And then learning to change that relationship. Learning to have a self-loving, a nurturing, a self-caring relationship with your feelings. And what that does is that allows those feelings to be metabolized, to be processed. It allows us to then really start to inhabit your body, to really be able to be in your body, in the moment, in a healing state. There's another tool that we also bring in, emotional freedom technique, or EFT. And this is or tapping as it's sometimes called. And this is about tapping on specific meridian points as a way of also helping process and digest your feelings and emotions that might be there. One of the things that I found over the years, partly for a lot of my own work on my own emotions, but also having worked with so many people, is that different ways in work for different people. And as much as having a structure and a format is really helpful, people have to sort of find their own way in. And that's also one of the things within the Reset program, that we offer a few different ways. And we're really, my thing, I guess, is to help people find their own way and their own paths, but using a really well-defined map and structure. And really the potential here is, if you can feel your emotions and feelings and process your emotions and feelings, then you can be in your body. And if you can be in your body, you can really be in a healing state. When you're in a healing state, that means that everything else that needs to happen in terms of your body coming into the kind of optimum state for healing to happen, to sleep significantly improving, to pain reducing, to your mitochondria shifting from energy signaling to energy production, and your energy then is directly impacted. There's so many things that come from really getting into a healing state. And part of that, it's not the only piece, as I've talked about, calming your mind, calming your thought processes is also really important. But this piece around emotions is often a missed piece. It's often a piece that I think that others try to sort of sidestep and kind of ignore. But to me, it's often one of the keys to really getting, and I think that the point that perhaps I haven't made is that it's one of the keys to having a sustainable, lasting shift. So otherwise you can endlessly be having to use other techniques to calm. And the reason why you're not staying in a healing state is those emotional pieces. And that's also why it can be super important. So I hope that's a helpful, just another piece of the jigsaw. I was a bit earlier today because I have something else scheduled at 6 o'clock. I'm going to do a live stream again tomorrow will be at 6 o'clock UK time, I think. And again, similar sort of time on Friday. Registration is going to open tomorrow, sort of mid-morning UK time for the next intake of the Reset program. If you want to join us, you have a kind of a relatively short window of time to register, because then the group starts. You can find out more at alexhoward.tv/reset. So alexhoward.tv/reset, and you can sign up for the free 3-part video series, which is available there, which takes some of what I've been talking about today, some of the recent Everyday Alex lives, and gives you much more context and detail. You'll also get details tomorrow of how to register and join the program if you want to join us. So I hope that's been helpful. Thank you everyone for watching. I haven't got so much time today, but I will have more time tomorrow and Friday. But just to say, thanks to Brata and Chan for your comments. And Sarah says on YouTube, EFT is brilliant for processing emotions. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your comments. And I look forward to talking with you guys tomorrow. And please do look out for the registration opening for the Reset program tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, everyone.